So I've been trying to get my wife to watch this movie for the longest time, like as soon as it hit streaming. Actually, I think I was trying to get her to go to the theater to see it. And I tried to entice her with, hey, it's got that guy from True Blood in it. She is a massive True Blood fan. But it turns out she's Team Bill, not Team Eric. And so she's not, I mean, she likes Alexander Skarsgard, but not like that. And so it wasn't as enticing as I thought to throw it out there like, hey, he's in it. And to be honest, it's not really her jam anyway, like this type of film, very violent, very action-oriented. But she might have appreciated the more like slow plot line that I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it would have bored her. Either way, it finally hit, I think HBO Max is where I watched it, Amazon Prime. And I was like, hey, we should watch this, and once again, she wanted to watch something else, and that's fine, I'm not going to force her to watch anything she doesn't want to watch, so I waited until she went to bed, and I watched it on my own the other night, and it was pretty much what I expected. I had heard that it was kind of a slow burn. It wasn't it wasn't what you imagine from the trailer, which is like all action, all violence, all, bloody Viking horror. And I will say I'm a huge fan of like Viking lore and Viking history and stuff like that. Like I absolutely loved the series Vikings on History Channel. Like one of my favorite series of all time. So good all the way through. 6 seasons? Such a fantastic series. If you haven't watched it, that is like, for me, that's the definitive, like, maybe not historically accurate, but definitive cinematic Viking story. So damn good. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Northman. I enjoy a story of vengeance as much as I enjoy anything. Like it's one of my favorite types of stories, like revenge, vengeance, some type of like, person who's cast out and beaten down, and it's an underdog story mixed in with it. I love the premise of this. I liked the story very much. I was left a little wanting in the end, I'll be honest. Love the violence, love the action, the fight choreography, all the acting was great. Alexander Skarsgard, of course. It was kind of an understated film, and I think that's what people were trying to say when they're saying like it's not quite what you expect from the trailer. It looks like it's much more like epic action constantly. There is a lot of great action fight sequences, but there's a lot more slow moments as well that you wouldn't imagine would be in it. And there's quite a bit, as you can get with most Viking stories, whether it be literature or film or series or what have you, there's always a bit of mysticism and witchcraft and stuff like that, like pagan historical inaccuracies, maybe like religious overtones that are added to the story, prophecy and stuff like that. And this movie absolutely had that. Maybe even more than like the series Vikings. I found that much more, historical based. Even if it wasn't completely accurate, it was more rooted in real life. But there was a little bit of that, like, oh, there's a woman who's like a witch and she puts a curse on. There's a lot of stuff like that in the series. But this movie had a ton of that. A lot of prophecy. A lot of like, he was destined to avenge his father in a very specific place and time, and it was supposed to happen that way, and so therefore he kind of waited for it to happen that way, where there was plenty of opportunity for him to just take his revenge earlier in the film, but it was fine. But like, I kind of dug it. It was like there was all these little side quests, right? Like first it shows how he became one of these bear wolf. I don't remember what they're called. They're like berserkers in Viking history. They wear the wolf head and the wolf coat, howl like wolves, all that, and I enjoyed that. Like he goes up to the land of the Rus, which is like the kind of Russian area where Vikings were as well in that era. And this takes place around 1000 AD. And so once he's cast out, or actually he runs away from being killed when his father is murdered and his mother is taken captive, and his uncle basically takes over the kingdom, and he runs for his life because he's next to be killed. He's the next in succession, so he's got to be taken out as well. No threat to the throne if you take out the only heir. So, but he grows up this savage warrior, always planning to take his revenge and avenge his father and mother, rescue his mother. And there's a lovely twist towards the end that I gotta say, it caught me off guard. I was not expecting for the twist with his mother to come to play, almost rendering his quest for vengeance like unnecessary. If he hadn't had it so ingrained, if his life's purpose was not to carry out this revenge plot, that would have stopped most people. But it was so ingrained in his soul that this was what he was supposed to do. This was his destiny. That he forgoed a lot of peace and happiness for his quest for vengeance. And I think that's kind of the moral of the story too. It's like they said he would have that choice between loving his family and having his revenge for his father's murder. And it plays out exactly like that. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of prophecy and stuff, and it actually does play out like the prophecy. But in the prophecy, I don't think it said that it ended quite the way it did. I don't want to give away the ending if you haven't seen it, but I will say that I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I've seen better Vikings stuff. Like I said, the action, the fight choreography, all top-notch. Very bloody, very violent. I love that sort of stuff. I'm a 90s kid. I am a sucker for it. Very macho, action sequences, very violent, profanity, gore. I'm into all that stuff. I can't help it. I'm a product of my environment. It's what I enjoy. And Viking history is filled with that sort of thing. So I did enjoy that aspect of it very much. I wish it had a little less prophecy and mysticism and stuff like that. I wish it was a little more rooted in reality. But it was a fun watch. Like I said, I did enjoy the little side quest though. Like he had to go retrieve a specific sword. But like I said, it all seems a little unnecessary. It's like you're following this plan of following this prophecy word for word, and there had to have been easier ways to go about this. Like he could have taken his vengeance with a dagger in the night, or he could have just showed up and challenged the guy right away. Whatever. There was no need for all the side quests, but it made the film more fun when he had to go retrieve the sword from the cave and battle this like undead stone man. Like I said, a little silly, and I would have preferred a little bit more realism, but I enjoyed what I got. It was pretty damn good. So I'd love to hear what you thought of The Northman. Let me know in the comments below, or you can hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at RealBrettScott if you're listening in podcast form. And yeah, if you enjoy this sort of thing where I talk pop culture and entertainment, stuff like that, then subscribe to the channel or favorite or follow Daily BS Podcast. This is what I do here, and I try to do it daily. That's why I call it Daily BS. And if you do decide to stick around and subscribe or favorite or follow the podcast, then I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks.